What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another NHL 23 ratings review. Today EA released the top 10 centers in the game as well as the top 50 players overall. Whether you guys can see the top 10 centers, but I'm actually going to bring up the database here so we can see all of their stats. At number 1, no surprise here, Connor McDavid, 95 overall. Now I did, predict he'd be no higher than 95 because EA is just, scared to make him higher than that for some reason. Personally, I'd have at least a 96, if not 97. I do think not only is he the best player in the game, but he's like one of the best players we've ever seen in the NHL. You guys can see his X factors there. Wheels should be a zone ability for whatever reason, just not showing up as one. 97 speed and XL, 98 agility. Very interesting to me. I think his speed and XL are actually better than his agility, but whatever. Good to see he is very fast. Honestly, I think you can make all three of those a 99 and no one would really complain. Look at the rest of his stats here. Obviously, he's got a great passing, 98 offensive awareness, hand-eye. He's got 97 deking, 98 puck control. So does not look like McDavid has a single 99 stat, which means if he doesn't, there's probably no player in the game with one. But he does have, like 4 98s there, or actually 5 98s with agility. So not too bad. You can see his shot here, 97 wrist shot accuracy. That's kind of insane. That might be a tad high for McDavid because he doesn't score quite as much as Matthews does. I'd probably have the wrist shot accuracy like a 95. We'll have to see, what Matthews is, but the power's on his high, 91. Slap shot accuracy, 94. Power, 90. Honestly, too, I think I'd lower the slap shot a bit, but, the wrist shot obviously is a great asset of his. Really good skating there. I mean, yeah, McDavid number 1 makes a lot of sense. Next up, number 2, we have Austin Matthews, 94 overall. In my opinion, the second best player in the NHL, so makes sense for him to be number 2 on this list. Let's see, he still has a shock and awe zone ability. That's one I find really doesn't affect the sim much. I think people were asking me about that. Make it snappy there as well. I was actually thinking I would give to McDavid just to help him score a bit more in your franchise sims. Maybe take out, like, I don't know, Magnetic or Big Rig. I look at the rest of Matthews' X factors here, guys. For some reason, I don't remember him having Seeing Eye. He might have last year, or they potentially changed it. I feel like it's probably all the same, but let me know if you guys remember. So, his stats here, 80 faceoffs. This is one I actually noticed. Should be a lot higher. He had a 56 win percentage in the faceoff circle last year. Like, that's really good. Anything above 50, I think, should be above an 80. 56, like, Bergeron, I think, has 56 some years. And obviously, he's one of the best faceoff takers. So, I think Matthews should have at least 85 faceoffs. He's got 97 offensive awareness there, 93 passing, 97 wrist shot accuracy. Okay, so his wrist shot accuracy is tied with McDavid, but he's got 94 more power. Personally, I think Matthews probably has slightly better wrist shot, so maybe give him 1 higher accuracy with the better power might be a bit more fair. Him having a better slap shot, though, obviously makes a lot of sense. Defensive awareness there, 94. You can see 4 higher than McDavid. He is a better defensive player, so that makes sense, too. Honestly, so far, so good. I don't think they've done too bad a job. Nathan MacKinnon here, number 3, 94 overall as well. So this is probably the first spot where I'd argue. I think MacKinnon is probably, 1 overall below Matthews. I'd have him as a 93. Ankle breaker, there's his zone ability. You can see the rest of his X factors. 95 speed, XL agility. Obviously, MacKinnon is very, very fast. 93 awareness there. McKinnon's actually pretty solid defensively. 96 offensive. He's got 94 passing. That could definitely be higher. 90 poise. I feel like all the superstars should have 95 poise. So him and Matthews. McDavid does have it, but I think like any player that's 92 plus really should have that stat. That doesn't really do much anyways, but just to make sure they're a good playoff performer or whatever it does. Rest of his stats here: wrist shot there, 94 for accuracy. Slap shots 92. I feel like his wrist shot could honestly be a little bit better than that. If Matthews and McDavid both have 97s, I feel like McKinnon could at least have a 95, but. Overall, again, not too bad. Now, number 4 here, Leon Draisaitl. So this is one I don't quite get. Personally, I think Draisaitl and McKinnon, are as good as each other. So if McKinnon's a 94, so should Draisaitl be a 94. Really, I might even switch the two. Have Draisaitl 94, McKinnon 93. I'm sure some people will disagree, say, Draisaitl's only good because of McDavid, even though they actually don't play together much other than the power play. So it's whatever. You can see his X factors there. Again, they gave him tape-to-tape zone ability. Even though the guy had 50 goals last year, player style there's a sniper. Now, he's a really good passer too, but when you put up 50 goals, I feel like your zone ability should probably have to do with shooting. So his stats here, 85 faceoffs, 97 offensive awareness. We know his strength's good, as you guys can see there, 92. He's got 88 for the speed, XL agility, which I think is pretty fair for Draisaitl. His shot there, 95 wrist shot accuracy, 94 slap shot accuracy. Again, I mean, he put up more goals than McDavid, so really, if McDavid's got 97 wrist shot, I feel like, Draisaitl's is either too low or McDavid's is too high. I think those, could be similar, but McDavid obviously with the better passing. Still, though, Draisaitl there, 94. Again, I'll give him higher poise as well. Next up here, we have Sid the Kid at 93 overall. So this is one, I mean, I love Crosby. Was one of my favorite players growing up, along with Datsuk, Paul Kreider, Eisenman before that. I think at this point, though, you could probably lower his rating a little bit, make him like a 92, as I feel like the last 4 guys have kind of taken a step above him at this point. You can see beauty backhand there, of course, still his zone ability. Defensive awareness, 94, same with offensive. Interesting. I feel like offensive should still be better. You can see there, he's got 90 for the speed, XL agility, his 90 strength, 91 balance. I feel like, honestly, Crosby's balance could be better. He does have elite edges there. I was going to say he's better. Shot there is, 90s, passing 94. Crosby's definitely like one of the most complete players in this game, which makes sense because in real life, I think, he's a pretty complete player as well. So, other than him being slightly too high rated, they did his rating pretty good. Alexander Barkov up next, 92 overall, I think is pretty fair. Yoink there for the zone ability. They only give him 4 X Factors, though, after that, opposed to 5. That's pretty weird for a 92 overall player. 95 D-awareness, 93 offense awareness. Obviously, a good two-way player. I'm looking at his stats. He's got like a low 90 shot, 93 passing, a lot of good X Factors there. I would give him like, another offensive one, though, just to help him actually produce a bit more in the sim. Right now, he doesn't have any for passing or shooting, which I guess beauty backhand technically is a shooting one. But yeah, definitely would add an extra to him. Steven Stamkos up next, number 7. Now, I'd see a lot of people complaining about how Stamkos is actually a winger now more than a center. The thing is, he played like the first half of his career, if not more than that, as a center, and he still does play center a lot for the Lightning. The dude won 545 faceoffs last year. I don't think, this is the biggest issue in terms of the EA ratings, having Stammer as a center. I'm sure his secondary position is, left wing or right wing. So his speed's actually quite high. 92 there with a 93 agility, 94 acceleration. Stamkos is quick. I'm not sure if he's still that quick. He's got 86 faceoffs there, so that's one issue. We'll bring up Stamkos' faceoff stat here. 51 win percentage last year. They gave him 86 faceoffs. Matthews had a 56, so 5% better, only 80 faceoffs. That's one that doesn't really make sense, especially like people said, Stamkos does play more wing, where Matthews is your natural center. Stamkos there for the slap shot accuracy, 92, the power, 94, wrist shots, 90, 92. Defensive awareness, 88, so, not too high, could probably still be a little bit lower. Overall, though, I feel like they did Stamkos pretty good. After him, you got Evgeny Malkin there, 90 overall. I saw some people complain about this one, but Malkin's still a very good player, even at 36 years old. Last year, he had over a point per game. Obviously, he was injured for half the year. Year before that, almost a point per game. The year before that was like 20 above. Over before that. Like, him and Crosby are pretty much good for a point per game every single year. I think in terms of Sid, he's literally never not had a point per game season, and Malkin, for the most part, never has either. So, pretty insane longevity for both these guys. Malkin, I still think, is very, very good, often kind of underrated due to being, that number 2 guy in Pittsburgh behind Crosby. Him only having 3 X Factors there is a bit surprising. I wonder if that's potentially an error, because they're not showing the zone abilities either. 75 faceoffs, I know he's not the greatest in the faceoff circle. 88 body check, 92 strength there. He's got a good shot, low 90s, 93 passing. I feel like that could be even better. I feel like, too, it'd be kind of fun if they gave him the Spinorama X Factor, because he did have that one sick Spinorama goal everyone knows him for, and I feel like the Spinorama one, it doesn't really matter anyways, and if you're not going to give them all of them, might as well add something for fun. Next up at number 9, Sebastian Aho there, 89 overall. I think Aho is very, very good, potentially like one of the more underrated players in the game. Could maybe even make him a 90. You can see his X Factors there. Solid two-way forward, 92 offensive awareness, 90 D awareness, 81 faceoffs. He's got 93 passing. Shot there, 92 accuracy for the slap shot, 91 for the wrist shot. I think Aho's wrist shot's probably more accurate than his slap shot, so definitely would switch those two and maybe boost the wrist shot a bit, drop the slap shot a bit. But overall, again, I think Aho's rating here looks pretty good. Like I said, so far these center ratings, like obviously I'm nitpicking some things, but they're not too terrible. Honestly, the worst one might be Bergeron, number 10, 89 overall. Not because he doesn't deserve to be here, because I think he actually should be a lot higher rated. The dude's probably the best two-way center in the NHL, one of the best two-way centers we've ever seen in the NHL, which is, proven by his 5 Selke trophies there. Last year, he had 65 points in 73 games, which isn't bad at all, especially for a two-way center. The dude's one of the best, if not the best, face-off taker in the NHL. And what's kind of crazy to think about is the fact that he put up 65 points last year and won the Selke trophy, and they actually dropped him in rating. And NHL 22 was a 90, he's now an 89. I don't know how you drop in rating from that. Obviously, he's older, but still playing well. If the fact that he thought about retiring affected this, I think that's, kind of dumb too. Like, that shouldn't really go into the rating. So, X Factors here, obviously, all those make sense. Now, I think Quick Draw should be his own ability, probably more so than No Contest. But, I don't mind that either. And for him, too, just to help him actually, produce a bit more, I'd probably throw in an offensive X Factor there with all those defensive ones. Again, 93 faceoffs. You can make that 95, even higher if you wanted, because I think, he is the best. I want to see him winning the most draws in the sim. 90-60 awareness there makes a lot of sense. Could have that even higher. 90 offensive awareness could also be maybe higher, like a 92. Potentially, that'd boost him up to 90 overall. All his skating there and balance and stuff is 88. Shot there high 80, passing 90. That could be slightly higher too. So, I mean, overall, like, Bergeron's card, they didn't get too bad. I just think he should be a bit higher rated. And now next year, guys, we're moving on to the top 50 players. Obviously, I'd say at least half of these guys, if not more, we've already covered via the top 10 centers, wingers, defensemen. So we'll just kind of quickly go over them. You can see there, okay, it's not glitched on this page. McDavid there does have the wheel zone ability. Matthews, McKinnon, Makar. Vasilevsky, highest rated goalie in game, 94 overall. So for me, it's either him or Shesterkin. Because of Vasilevsky's playoff success, I'd probably give the edge to him. Plus, he's got, more NHL experience. 94 overall for a goalie is pretty crazy. Top 5 player in the game with Matthews, McKinnon, Makar. I mean, it's hard to argue that. I mean, if you're going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning, you got such a stud in net. Very curious to see if he's actually going to, help carry the team, or if he's going to play as good as an 82 overall goalie. Unfortunately, cannot see his stats. They're just showing ones there because those are player stats. But you guys can see his X factors. Pretty funny. 94 overall goalie does not get a full list of X factors, but whatever. So after him, we already know all these players. Now, I actually did a top 10 player rating predictions. I think I got the top 10 right, except for Kane and Hedman. I had Kucherov and Ovi in their places, so, not too far off. Here we go. Second highest rated goalie, Igor Shesterkin. That's a little bit concerning. So this page, the zone abilities, yeah, so Barkov's got Yoink. They're showing no zone ability for Shesterkin. I'm hoping that's just an error, because how do you not give one to a 92 overall goalie, the second best goalie in your game? Honestly, if Vasilevsky's a 94, though, I'd give Shesterkin a 93. Like, he had one of the best goalie seasons we've ever seen last year. I think he definitely deserves it. He also definitely deserves to have more X factors than that. So we're going to keep going here. I think we've looked at all of these players already because they're all the wingers there. Adam Fox, we've also seen anybody new. Connor Hellebuyck. We've actually got a few goalies here. Okay, so Connor Hellebuyck first, 90 overall. He's got 5 X factors. Again, I feel like one of these is probably his own ability. Interesting to see all or nothing there. If that's his own ability, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, that's like the desperation to kind of save one. I feel like he's a bit more kind of in his crease than a guy, say, like Fleury or Jonathan Quick, but maybe Winnipeg fans can correct me if I'm wrong. After him, you have Jacob Markstrom, also a 90. I mean, so far I agree with this. Okay, he's got dialed in zone ability, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe him and Shesterkin don't have one. It's tough to say. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt, say it's an error. Dialed in, that's just a guy who, like, once he kind of gets in the zone, you're not stopping him. Kind of like Carey Price, in my opinion, at least obviously in his prime. So far, I do agree with these goalie ratings, aside from Shesterkin being a little bit too low. Now, John Gibson here at a 90. I think that's a bit too high for him. I know he's got a pretty bad Ducks team in front of him, but still, even if you look at his stats, he should have been playing better even with the team in front of him. So I don't think I'd have him higher than like an 88 personally. You can see his X factors there. So far, the only real issue with goalie would be Gibson. Here's a player we actually haven't seen yet. Elijah Lindholm there. Just missed top 10 centers. Tied with Aho, but they didn't give him the tiebreaker there to make the list. Let's see. Got 4 X factors there. Obviously had a great season last year, playing with Gaudreau, who's now gone. Same with Kachuk. I feel like him and Huberdeau can probably make some magic happen. Defensive awareness 93, offensive awareness 92. Very good two-way player. 91 passing, that could even be higher because he put up a ton of points last year. Shot there could even be like slightly better. They got his power pretty low at 87. So yeah, I mean, I think the rating's fine, but I might just mess with his stats a bit to make him a bit better offensively. Probably just like lower his physical or something. After that, wow, Dylan Larkin, 89 overall. I mean, obviously, one of my favorite players in the NHL, him, McDavid, Draisaitl, probably my top 3. Siders, pushing up into there. Obviously, like I said, I love Dylan Larkin. Last year, he had 69 points in 71 games, which is nice, just under a point per game. I don't know if that's good enough to be an 89, though. I feel like this might be a bit high on him. Personally, I'd probably have him 88, honestly, if I'm just being fair. Like, I think Aho's an 89 is kind of like a tier above Larkin. Lindholm, he had an insane season last year, so I think that kind of gives him a bit of an edge. Also, too, he's probably a bit better defensively, where Larkin does have the speed, so it's tough. I'd probably have Larkin 88 if I'm just being really fair. Landeskog as well, though, was an 89, I think, slightly high rated. I'd have him at 88 as well, but it is good to see Larkin finally has the wheel zone ability. He's getting respected there. We already know his speed, I think. Yeah, 93. That could even be higher, I think, like 95. So Forsberg's rating we already saw. Forsberg, another guy, I think, maybe a bit high. Should be like 88. Kopitar here, still an 89. Even at his age, very good player. Quick draw there looks to be his zone ability, unless they're not giving him one, which would be kind of insane. Defensive awareness 92, offensive 90. He's got 91 strength. The fact that Yossi's got higher strength than Kopitar is a joke. Kopitar should have like 94 strength or higher. Where's his body checking? 88. That could probably be better too. Balance at least, it looks to be 90. Shot there, low 90s. Same with passing. I mean, yeah, he's like a very good two-way forward, power forward, whatever you want to call him. So I think that's a fine rating. DeBrincat we've already seen. Stone I mentioned, way too low rated. Braden Point here, 89 overall. So really a ton of players they could have chose to have in that top 10. So there's so many ties here. Jack Eichel, also an 89. So Braden Point here, he's got 90 speed with 93 agility and 92 XL. I think Braden Point could actually be faster than that. I'm not sure why they have the speed so low. Like, it should be 93 with the agility. Make the XL 93 as well. Literally got the wheels X factor there. Look at his stats here. He's a pretty good two-way player. 92 offensive awareness, 88 defensive, 90 poise. Shot there is pretty accurate. 93 wrist shot accuracy, 92 passing. Okay, so yeah, overall I think they did him pretty good. Thatcher Demko, 89 overall. Demko's a very good goalie too. Would I have him as an 89? That's tough. I think I'd probably have him as an 88, but honestly I'm not too upset with the 89 either. I think it's a pretty fair rating. No X factors though for 89 Demko. If that's legit, I think that's definitely wrong. Jack Eichel up next year, 89 overall. Obviously was injured for the first half of last year. Didn't have the greatest season with Vegas, but I think this year will be a big bounce back year for him. Playing the full year, playing healthy. I think we could see him in the actual top 10 center list for NHL 24. I can see there you got wheels, tape to tape, schnipe, make it snappy. 92 speed on Eichel. He is pretty quick. 75 faceoffs. Is Eichel that bad in the faceoff circle? He actually isn't too great. You can see there pretty much all below 50%. So yeah, 75 is actually pretty fair for him. I figured I would check though to be sure. 92 passing, not too bad. The wrist shot accuracy there, 94. He does have a great wrist shot. Slap shots probably slightly lower, maybe passing slightly higher. Overall, not bad. Saros here, 89 overall. I think Saros is a great goaltender. Look at that, all those X factors. Honestly, for me, I would probably have Saros as a 90, tied with Markstrom and Hellebuck. I think that'd be a bit more fair. Honestly, too, in regards to those three, I think, even Hellebuck maybe could give a +1 to make him a 91. And then I think what I have Shesterkin at 93 and Vasilevsky 94. And after that, we've seen everyone except for the last two guys. Mark Scheifele here, also 89 overall, so a bunch of 89 centers. I'm not sure how they did the tiebreaker there to pick Aho Bergeron as the final two in the top 10. I can see Scheifele there. I think those X factors are the same as this year. Pretty good wrist shot, pretty decent passing. Looking at all the stats here, seems to be like a pretty good all-around playmaker. Obviously more offensive than defensive, you can see there with the awarenesses. And then finally here, guys, number 50, Freddie Anderson, 89 overall. Obviously last year, a great bounce back here at the Hurricanes. I think, Leafs fans are probably wishing they kept him after that. He's got some X factors there. We can't see his stats. 89 for Anderson. Oh, it's tough because he did have such a good year bouncing back with the Hurricanes. The year before that in the Leafs, though, he's pretty average. I'd probably have him at 88, not quite 89, but obviously if he keeps it up this year, give him a ratings boost during the season. And then one more thing, guys, I actually almost forgot to show you was the top 10 fastest players in the game, regardless of position. So McDavid is number 1, as we predicted, 97 speed. Right behind, though, Cale Makar, 96. You then got McKinnon there at 95. I don't know, I feel like I'd like to see an as practice where McKinnon and Makar race each other, because I think my money might be on McKinnon. Barzal there, 95 speed, finally getting respected. That's where I always put him at in my custom roster. Larkin, 93, could be higher, could have 95 speed with Barzal. Duchesne, 93, Gaudreau, 93, Captain, 93. Same with Hughes and Hull. Now, they are missing some guys, as this person here with the tweet shows. This graphic here shows all the top speeds that players reached in-game last year. So, Martin Necas, 24.9 is the highest one. Should probably be, in the top 10 fastest skaters. Same with Alex Formenton, of course, McDavid and McKinnon are there. Ryan Merkley, we do know they gave good speed to, it's 90. I'm not really sure what Necas and Formenton's going to be. Ehlers, I think, also had high speed. Kroos is usually lower, same with Tuck, because they're like power forwards, and they think power forwards can't be fast. Byron, we did see a good speed, like 92. Jaros probably has trash speed just because he's like not the highest rated player. So I definitely do look at stuff like this a bit more. Obviously, you don't have to base it off of just last year. I'd probably take like the last 3 seasons, who's had the top speeds, look at that and literally give yourself a speed rating based on factual data. I think that'd be the fairest way to do it. But honestly, the top 10 fastest players list here isn't the worst either. So that's going to do it, guys, for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on these ratings in the comment section below. If you guys did enjoy this one, leave that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that sub button. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.